Hey, so I'm excited to have my friend and colleague Paula Tobey here. And so we're going to dive straight in and we're talking about the Braver Together Mastermind. And so, Paula, what were you doing before you joined Braver Together Mastermind? And I know you and I did some things in the past. And so, what was that like? And then we'll get to the next question, which was why did you end up joining? So, kind of like, where were you before you joined and what was going on?
Yeah. So before I joined, I was getting back into like full-time coaching. For years I had been, and when I worked with you before, I had been part-time coaching because I was either teaching preschool at my daughter's school or elementary school or swim lessons or something. I always did that part-time and then coaching part-time. But in 2021, I had just kind of come to this realization that I needed to do more. I was ready to write my book and ready to dive in. At the time, I was attending a different mastermind, and it was really more about self development. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I was really working on my mindset, which was huge because I actually needed that before I got to this.
Hmm.
And I'll share that in a second. But really, um, I knew what mastermind was in that I had been in one years ago. A colleague from way back when who probably came to your world first, Catherine Bonner,
Mm.
had a mastermind, and I did that with her. Um, and so that was my first taste of it. And then this other one was Kelly Thorne Gore, and I did hers probably for about 3 years. It was really great. But we didn't ever do hot seats in there, and I had done them in Catherine's. And I really kind of missed that because I felt like I needed help on my business, not necessarily my mindset anymore. That had come a long way. And so I knew I needed something different. And the ability to have hot seats was really what attracted me. Plus, I just saw this huge change in you,
Mm.
and your new self really attracted me back to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And every mastermind has a little different vibe and I've been in quite a few myself and I mean that's a really great point that you just shared that there's nothing wrong with anybody at any mastermind. It's really based on the culture that is created with the people. And I know you and I we started actually with a Voxer month.
Mhm.
And then you came towards the mastermind. So why did you end up, you've been in the mastermind a little over a year now.
Mhm.
And yeah, about a year. And so what made you kind of take the leap from that Voxer month up into the mastermind?
Well, talking with you, I kind of realized that yes, you could help me one on one, but I thrive in groups and I do really well as a former teacher. I like learning in groups. I love pushing myself farther, and I had been coached off and on singly by people and or in therapy. And I was really wanting groups. And I actually coming off of COVID cemented that for me. I knew absolutely I had to have a group. And so when we voxered back and forth and you were, telling me kind of the benefits and what the dynamic of the group was like, I knew I had to change my whole thinking as far as like cost to what would it cost me if I didn't?
Right.
And that was key. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really great, that's what I ask myself a lot too
Mm.
when I invest in trainings, programs, and systems, which
Yep.
we all feel nervous when we do. And
Mm.
we all feel nervous. And it's like, okay, well, how close can I get to this group of people if I don't join?
Hmm.
if I don't join, I'm missing that closeness to that mentor, that connection, the live event.
Right.
And I know you've come to two of our retreats.
Hmm.
First one in Waco and then at Sanford House. What are those like for you? And what would you say to somebody who's maybe considering but scared about the live events?
Yeah. So because we function only on Zoom, um, it is, yes, you get to know the people, but it is really wonderful to be able to have that physical energy. And I'm not saying this in a woo woo way, like, some people just, they don't like that word, right? But physical presence of other people who are excited and motivated uh, has a ripple effect. And when you're in a room with like minded people and you are working individually yet toward a common goal of, unity or, serving clients or whatever that goal is, it helps increase your own personal energy
Mhm.
and it gets you more excited. And it's fun to just connect with people, again, on a physical level. Give somebody a hug, I've had some friends in that group for years because I met them from NACWE way back when. And it was really fun to be, back in the room with them. And I knew all of them had been in the mastermind and continued to excel. And I saw myself in that way. And then I saw myself not. And I realized I really need to do it. I need to invest and I need to do it. So that's why I did it.
And since you've joined the mastermind, you've actually created your own mastermind because you got excited and you're an action taker.
Mhm.
So the ripple effect of by being with other women writing books, by being with other women hosting retreats and events, by being with other women creating different courses and opportunities, Voxer offers, you have taken really giant leaps.
Mhm.
As with all of us, some of them work and some of them don't.
Yep.
But we have this community of experimentation, a community of course, Braver Together. What have you learned about yourself?
Um, that I definitely jump in with 2 feet first, but I do it knowing what I'm getting into. So I research things or I find out how long it's going to take. I make sure I have the time to invest um, in addition to the money because I don't want to, you know, get involved in something and then realize, oh, I don't actually have the time for this, right? So for me, in my life, the timing was perfect. I only had one kid at home when I jumped in, and that helped. I have one in college and one going to college, but she was a senior.
Hmm.
And I knew because she had a car and could drive herself, that gave me more time. Um, and so it allowed me to start thinking of the future. And I also knew that when coming this fall, when they both are gone, that I really needed to step up my game and I really needed to, you know, do the work now. So when that time came, I would be ready. And so I think that for me, that was the main thing. And then I just wanted to be back in your world. Like, let's be honest.
Well, I'm so glad that you're back in my world. And I'm just, as we're talking, I'm remembering all these great different little moments. And sometimes at masterminds, I mean, a mastermind really is a mirror and it's going to give you, there's been, I mean, there's times for me as well in my groups that I have to hear things that maybe I don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody says, wait a minute, wait, I thought you were doing A and B, not C, D, and E.
Right. Yes.
But it's that beautiful, like, okay, we love you, and yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yes, and being able to see somebody for their entirety, be able to understand their background history and
Mhm.
really what they bring to the world. And so these memories that are popping up in my mind are really fun. They're good. There are different locations that we've been in, and
Mhm.
uh, it's really great. Okay. One final question, well, probably two questions. So there's these women that are sitting on the fence. They
Yeah.
they see what we're doing, and so what would you say to a woman that's out there sitting on the fence,
Mhm.
wondering if she could qualify, wondering if she would fit in, or wondering, why join?
Sure. Yeah. So I think it comes down to the courage to invest in oneself and self growth. You're also investing in your self worth. You have to really take a look at what's been stopping me from doing what I really want. And for me, the first time going under, that was back from the teaching days. I almost said a phrase that from when I was teaching, in the hot seat, right? I was going to say under the scope, but um, you get examined, right? Like you put your vulnerability self out there and you share with them your desires, and they hear you and they're like, well, what about this? Have you thought about that? What if you could do this, right? And so for me, being in the hot seat for that first time and stating what it was that I really wanted, that was when I realized I want mastermind. Like I want to do my own.
Mm,
And it was so powerful for me that I feel like totally re-energized myself, um, that I never expected. And it's because I made that investment of both money and time that I had that opportunity and
mm,
I had that awakening. And like I said, it reinvigorated everything that I was doing. And it made me realize I could have gone more full time earlier, but I knew all the lessons that I had learned prior, I needed to learn, right? And, develop more confidence and, a lot of that stuff. So I do believe now it was God's perfect timing, even though it didn't seem like it maybe at the time. But I definitely feel like if someone is considering it and they're really on the fence, they should reevaluate what is it that they really want
mm,
and what is keeping them from getting that. And if it's just money or just the time or whatever, um, I've learned that's not necessarily enough.
mm.
You really need to think of all of the pieces in your life. And obviously for some, people, it's, doing something like this is completely unimaginable. They can't make ends meet every day, right? That's not the group that I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about the people that are, um, definitely in a different place. But anyway, so for those women, I think it's very important for them to think about, again, the cost of not.
Mhm.
And are you tired of still playing small?
Yes.
And I was tired of still playing small.
Ooh, I'm getting the goosebumps. Goosebumps. Yeah, because we have to really think about, time and money, like you mentioned, but I
Mhm.
want to make a huge impact, right?
Mhm.
So, and I know you do too, and the women that join the mastermind, we are women of purpose and women of impact. And so, and then I want peace of mind. I want the peace of mind that I have a safe haven, and whether it's going good or bad, safe haven to come talk to and
Yep,
be supported, be loved, be encouraged. Yes, about business, but truly way more than that. We've had
absolutely.
lots of
Mhm.
conversations about family situations and mental health. Um,
Mhm.
I'm so grateful that you're in the mastermind, and I love you, of course. And so any last wisdom or words to share with anybody before we close up?
Um, I guess I would have to say for someone considering, and maybe they're on the fence, to do a good old-fashioned pro-con list. And I almost guarantee there's going to be way more pros than cons, because for a lot of people, it's just going to be money or time or, I'm scared, right? Those are going to be the biggest reasons not to. But all of the what ifs, and if you allow yourself to dream, that is key in what if I did? What if I could? What could I do? And that's where it gets exciting and scary. But when you have other Christian women there building you up and encouraging you, it's like there's no stopping us, right? Like we have that, everything's taken care of. And because in this community, we bring God into the picture, He is there with us as well. And that is huge.
It is huge. Well, we'll end on that note because it's a great note to end on. And for those listening and watching, we have a seat saved for you. Go apply. It's over at dianecunningham.com/mastermind. We are Braver Together. We believe that, we live that, and we can't wait to welcome you into our family. All right.